So the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro were recently unveiled, well, kind of, at the Google I/O 2022 keynote to give us a taste of what's coming later this year. But Google intentionally left out some details, very important ones that they didn't want you to know about yet, that could definitely make or break the sales of this smartphone. What's going on, everyone? This is Dom, and today we're doing a deep dive into some of those hidden details that Google didn't tell us about regarding the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro that are kind of important when it comes to its feature set and its design. First off, did anyone find it interesting that Google didn't show us the front of the device like at all? They kept the entire conversation around the back of the device, the camera system, the camera bar, and the design, which we'll get into all of that in a little bit, but there's something that they're hiding on the front. One thing about that design that's really important to note is the fact that Google mentioned the Pixel 7 Pro, the frame, and the camera bar are made from a single piece of polished aluminum. And you might be like, so big deal. Well, let me tell you. I'm sure you noticed how ultra shiny that whole thing looked. I mean, it kind of reminds us of some stuff that we've seen on Samsung and Apple devices in the past with that very, very shiny polished look around the edges and the backside where the camera bar is. And the only reason I mention this is because I'm gonna tell you this now, that thing is going to be a scratch magnet, specifically the camera bar on the back. Now let's talk about what they were hiding on the front of the display. And what's funny about using that specific word hiding is they're actually hiding stuff beneath what they're hiding. So it's really likely that around the front, at least on the Pixel 7 Pro, we're definitely going to see an edge-to-edge display. Now, I say this and I have some things to back that up, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but that's not even the coolest thing that they're hiding on the front. So Google was granted a patent in late 2021 that features a selfie camera that's actually hidden underneath the display. Now, this wouldn't be the first time we've seen this done on a smartphone. If all of you can remember, the Z Fold 3 from Samsung had the same thing going on, but it didn't really deliver on expectations. With that being said, I do believe that this is actually going to be better implemented on the Pixel 7 Pro, and yes, I said Pixel 7 Pro because I feel like they're going to use this as another means to get you to upgrade to the premium model. You know, the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro sometimes have their differences between the two. You're not going to get an extra camera on the Pixel 7, as we saw already in the official leaks, I guess if you want to call it that. Google unveiled it. But the Pixel 7 Pro is going to be packing this tech, and it's definitely going to be better than Samsung's. Just so anybody doesn't think I'm making this all up, Google actually hired Samsung's ex-display engineer, Sang-Moo Choi. And this guy is actually credited for inventing the camera system patent that Google was recently granted late last year. Now, the patent that I just mentioned does use the exact same polarizing layer technology as found on the Z Fold 3. And while I definitely think we can expect Google to do a little bit better, especially since they've had more time, I don't think that this is the tech they're going to use in the Pixel 7 Pro. There was actually another patent granted to Google early 2021 that features a much more advanced under-display camera system. Now, this thing uses a prism to reflect a small secondary display underneath the primary display into that empty spot when it's not in use, and it rotates to reflect the camera lens and sensor when you need the selfie camera. Now, this sounds very, very advanced, and to be honest, it seems like a lot of moving parts to put underneath the display, especially when, you know, moving parts statistically break quicker than things that don't move. Obviously, this would be an insane engineering feat if they pulled this off, but because of that, well, they might end up using the polarizing one. And I want to know, if you've seen the under-display camera on the Z Fold 3, what do you think about it? It's always kind of visible on the display, and that's what a lot of people had a problem with. Now, like I said, I do think that Google can do better than this because they've had more time, but would you rather have something that completely conceals it or something that's slightly visible? Or I mean, are you okay with a notch? Like, how do you feel about that? So another thing that's interesting to note here that goes back to support the point that I made about the Pixel 7 Pro having an edge-to-edge display is the fact that this patent from late 2021 does show, in fact, that an edge-to-edge display. And you can say, well, that's just a drawing. But when you compare it to the patent that was approved in early 2021, it clearly shows a display with a bezel around it. And either way, I feel like the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro are gonna absolutely knock it out of the park later this year, but beware of those shiny polished edges, because if you've ever had any experience with phones like that, you know how easy that scratches, especially with soft aluminum. But realistically, we have Android 13, we're going to have a new camera system and a new processor inside, but outside of that, if they weren't doing something magical on the front of the device, would it really offer much more of an incentive to upgrade from something like the Pixel 6? And I know everybody's not jumping from 6 to 7, but even when you take a look at the Pixel 5, what more is it offering other than a unique new design? So I would take those things and chew them up in your mouth for a little bit, think about it, but it all makes sense when you compare the patents that we've seen and you compare the fact that Google was intentionally hiding the front of the display, and I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm pretty excited, but I'd love to know what you think about the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro and everything that you think the phone might come with. Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, and if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when new videos like this drop in the near future. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really do appreciate it. This is Dom, and I will catch you in the next video.